Hello, welcome to another edition of Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso, and damn, I left this rocking chair in the corner. I usually move it because I rock back and forth to move a lot. Anyway, so please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. You guys and girls, 870 subscribers. Man, and I say this because this is, I was at like 300 Tuesday or Wednesday, 3 something. A little crazy. And because you guys are my first subscribers, especially you new people, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one out. This is about my involvement in a prison rape. Yeah, everybody stop and pause. So I'm going to go ahead. You know, this is a hell of a subject. Please don't shut it off. Stay tuned and listen. So, real quick on rape in prison. So, you know, we all heard don't drop the soap, don't, about Bubba, being Bubba's boy and all this other stuff. And in our culture, it's like steeped the fact that, you know, it's like a given. A lot of people think that you're going to go to prison, especially if you're young, especially if you're young and white, and you're going to get raped or be tried or something like that. And the truth of the matter is, it's not as common as people think. And it all largely depends on the prison system, the staff, the culture of the inmates. And I'm going to give you some examples for a second. So let me go ahead and start off. I'm going to walk through each prison I went to in my experience. So first place I ever went and did time at was LA County Jail. Central office, LA Central, downtown Los Angeles. When you first get processed in, usually you go to like the 93, 94, 9500 block. That's been since the late 80s, early 90s. So I was originally put in 9500 block, and I never saw anybody get raped while I was in. I'm looking because there's people driving by. I never saw anybody get raped while I was in the LA County jail system. I've seen some guys give it up. I've seen some people prostituting themselves out. I remember in 9500, there was blankets around these bunks in the back, and those were all the guys that were, involved in prostitution. But as far as anybody seeing somebody's ass getting taken, that's what you say. No, I did not in the LA County jail. And in all, I only did like 63 days in the LA County jail system on a year sentence back in 1990. A lot of overcrowding issues. There was a mistake made. Anyway, 63 days on a year sentence. Okay. After that, the next place I did time was Sebastian County Jail. And there was some guys getting raped in the Sebastian County, the old jail above the courthouse. I was in the same, so there was a couple different holding areas or living quarters. I was in one, and may even be 2 separate rapes while I was up there awaiting transportation to Arkansas, to the Arkansas state system. So there's either 2 people or 1 person raped a couple times. Heard it. That happened there. So next, in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. So back in the day, and I don't know what it is now. I haven't been to the ADC. Last time was like 94. I went to diagnostics in Pine Bluff. You were in a holding cell by yourself for anywhere from a week to 3 weeks, and all you had was a Bible or religious material, nothing else. After that, they let you out on the 3rd, I think it was called the 3rd floor, I believe. So my first night in an open dorm setting, a guy about 3 or 4 bunks down from me, a white guy, 3 guys, black guys rolled up on him and really, raped the hell out of this guy. Yeah, I can smell blood and shit, and that's the truth. That was my first night in, and instinctively you want to get up and try to do something. I was scared to death. I ain't gonna lie. And I did look at to some other white guys that I knew had done time, and they're just like, basically, stay away, stand back. That ain't your business. Arkansas is a different system at that time than California, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So in the ADC, the whole time I was there, a year, several rapes. And so there was a lot of pressure punk, and I've mentioned this before. That is, guys would roll up to, I've seen guys roll up, 5 guys deep, surrounding them, and, say, choose your daddy, who are you going to pick? And they really were putting you on check to see where your heart was at. And I cannot tell you how many guys gave it up without putting up a fight. And Arkansas system was like 85% black and 14% white, and then the rest other, back in the early 90s. And homosexual activity and rape was a part of the prison system's culture. It was a status symbol to have a boy. Whites, blacks, others. Whites and white guys aren't innocent in this, and I'm not trying to play the racial card, but you can read any criminology book from that time talking about how it was more common for blacks to rape whites and the reasons why. They went into socioeconomic differences, and I actually read quite a bit of material about that back in the day. So I'm not just trying to throw it out there like blacks are rapists and blah, blah, blah. No, there was a lot of stuff written. If you go back to the 80s and the 90s and read anything about criminal justice or prison, and that's discussing rape in prison, they will talk about that. Specifically, African Americans were more prone to rape whites and blah, blah, blah. But that was that's the truth. So please, I don't mean to offend nobody, but that's the truth. So anyway, so I would later, as I got adjusted to the system, where I asked, some of the white guys, why didn't you knew there was 5 black guys rolling up on this one white guy, and you guys don't do nothing. Well, why? And the way they explained it to me, some of the old school guys out of there would say, we want to, if somebody can't stick up for themselves, we're not going to stick up for them. Now, so I've seen somebody fight, get beat up, and get their ass taken. So nobody came and stuck up for him, but does that mean you'll stick up for him later? That was where I was always confused. However, that's just what happened. So I was at a couple different spots, but I ended up going to Calico Rock at one point in north central Arkansas. That prison was like all white mostly, and African Americans really hated to go up there. Their families did not want to drive up there to visit them. Real racist area at the time, especially the heart of Klan country. What was left of the Ku Klux Klan? That's a whole other subject, but real racist area for sure. I actually lived up there at one point in my life, in 96 and 97. So yeah, that's for sure. African American families did not want to stay at hotels up there back then, or nothing like that. So any of the black guys that were coming up there were just trying to get out as fast as they could. I was a library clerk, library clerk, and I had a closet there. And the inmates in that prison had different spots labeled, spot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The closet in the library was like spot 2, and that's where guys would go fuck. Not rape, but fuck. And I didn't let it happen, and I was not popular because of it. Again, that homosexual activity was really accepted in that system back at the time. I've heard it's different now. I'm just putting out there what it was. Anyway, that can be, guys can disagree, whatever. That was my experience. Okay, so I saw guys with my own eyes get raped in Arkansas Department of Corrections. Okay, smelt 1, 2 for sure. Anyway, so let's skip along. Went back in the Sebastian County jail system sometime later, and saw another incident occur. This was in the new Sebastian County jail. It was a Puerto Rican guy who had a white cellie, and I can see across at nighttime when the guy snatched his cellie off the bunk and raped him. The next day, the kid was distraught, freaked out, and so forth. So anyway, again, there was a guy named Joel. Something bad happened to, he owed some guy money, and the guy had him move in his cell and pressure punked him, but it was, he didn't want it. And you can hear him, telling him to stop and all that shit, and it's distressing. It sucked to be next door and hear that shit. So let me go further. Oh, I'm sorry. I went to Chino, did time in California Department of Corrections. That didn't happen. Homosexual activity amongst white guys, if you did it, I never knew anybody ever that was involved in homosexual activity back in the day. I'm sure it happened. As a matter of fact, I did 7 months in Chino Central and Madrone Hall locked down because I was on some kind of weird escape status. Even though I didn't escape, I just ran, probation violation. But anyway, I saw guys that were brought into the hole for rape charges in another prison. So, you know, things happen. Now, but in general, the homosexual activity amongst the white population was not accepted whatsoever. So it was a lot different. When you went in there, the white guys had your back. You know, it's real gang environment. Okay, so let me go a little bit further now. So when I went to Leavenworth in 1998, first Fed stop, got high the first night, started partying immediately, got strung out on heroin, on the needle. I was not an intravenous drug user on the street. Started in prison. I'm going to do probably my next video. Content will be about my first experience with heroin, which actually happened in Chino, not Leavenworth, but Chino, and I was going to go ahead and go into detail that whole thing. Anyway, I was in the party scene. There was a guy who I mentioned. I'm just going to call him, I'll just say Will. So there was a guy named Will, junkie, dope fiend, and I'm not saying that in a critical way. I'm just putting out what it is. He made a lot of moonshine and was, friends with a bunch of different black guys. And at that time in that prison system, I want to say this. I have seen videos where guys have talked about, white guys have talked about being on black time. My friend Mike Miller did a video over with Chad Marks about a white guy being on black time. In the 90s and early 2000s at Leavenworth, I only knew of one white guy that I remember. Actually, no, I just thought of two more, but they didn't last. That ran black. That was Terry, what the hell was his name? He was a GD, and he was the only guy. Otherwise, there wasn't like white rappers. There wasn't white guys that or what we call now yo boys, or guys that ran around acting black. Guys like that got hurt back then. Go ahead, if you want to criticize me. I'm saying at Leavenworth, all the way west. So the West Coast prisons, all the way to Leavenworth, it did not happen. If guys saw it at Florence, I don't believe that was happening. So you better not be acting black if you were white back in those days. Things have changed. American culture has changed, but I'm telling you, it was different. And what would happen? You get beat up. You get warned, hey, what are you doing? You know, you get run off. So there was a guy, and I was going to call him what we called his nickname, but it identifies a mark of his, and I'm not trying to do that to him. So let's just call him Brain. So this guy, Brain, was kind of a nerd, actually was really nerdy. I don't remember what he was in prison for, but he had a 10-year sentence. He was married to a black girl and had mixed race kids. So he would identify more with blacks and try to hang out in black TV rooms. And the black guys would come and say, hey man, get this cracker out of here. What are you guys doing? Somebody was going to do something about this guy. The guy caused a lot of problems just because he was white and he wanted to go watch black sports or watch sports in the black TV room, but whatever. He was warned. He didn't have prison sense. Like I said, he was kind of nerdy. Stayed to himself, but he pushed back a few times to the white guys. He'd been slapped a few times for talking back by some guys that I know. And he would then keep it up, meaning a couple weeks will go by, then he'd go into a black TV room again. One night I was drinking, and this guy, Will, was standing outside of a cell, and he's like, hey, Rob, I need to talk to you, man. I need to talk to you. And I was like, oh, okay, hold on. I'm going to go get some. He goes, man, you trying to drink? You won't need a pint? I got you on a pint. I'm like, fuck yeah. Trying to drink some shine? Yeah, I want a pint. He said, man, I got you on a free pint. So I'm like, for real? And he's like, yeah, man, come here. I need to holler at you. And he's like, hey, you know that dude, Brain? And I said, yeah. And he's like, hey, man, if you hear some shit about tonight, just stay out of that, all right? He goes, as a matter of fact, he goes, do you give a fuck? He goes, you know, some of the brothers, all right. So there was a lot of derogatory names for African Americans that were used. Most common, it wasn't the N-word, it was toad. Okay, was it. So he said, we've warned Brain enough, and tonight the toads are going to turn him out, meaning fuck him. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck, and I didn't care about that dude, and I wasn't thinking about the whole thing. So I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck. And he's like, you don't, right? You don't care. And I'm like, no. He's like, man, hang out with me right here and I'll get a pint. So we're standing out in front of a couple cells, and Will chose me because of who I ran around with at the time. I wasn't patched up dirty white boy, but I was an affiliate, and I was in good standing. There's some guys at youth that were in my block that I know watch this. Dave, I seen you on Chad's channel. So he knows what I'm talking about. So I was in good standing with people. So anyway, I didn't know at the time what was going on. Will got me a pint of shine, and we're sitting there drinking, and behind me, I see black guys come, and, you know, in prison when you're on the rail, well, we're on the second tier rail drinking, guys walk behind you a lot, you know, you kind of look and see who's walking behind. Some guys started going in and out of the cell, and I heard like a yell and a scream. So what happened was, at that time, now I'm already, half hour's gone by before I heard a lot of noise. Will was keeping point while Brain was getting raped, turned out. And he brought me into the loop, lured me with free alcohol. And now I'm standing there while 7, at least, black guys, some were my friends, went in there and fucked this white kid, all because he wouldn't stay out of the black TV room. And so at the time, you know, I'm like, I don't really give a fuck this and that, but I did, and it really weighed on me a little bit later. I was different person back then, but still in this area, that guy definitely didn't deserve to be raped because he was married to a black girl and had mixed race kids and didn't run white. And he was some form of handicap, really. And it wasn't, you know, it was a fucked up situation. Nevertheless, you know, so let's say we were charged. There's like a 7-year statutory stat on rape. Just for being in that, you know, I could have been charged, like, you know, we were basically, what the black guys did is have Will there, gave him free shine so that other white guys wouldn't come just in case. They knew that the white guys in that unit didn't like Brain. And if the truth be told, if some of the black dudes would have went and said, hey man, we're going to kick for you dudes down a couple pints of shine, and we're going to take dude up here and fuck him, nobody probably would have cared, because nobody was really going to step up and protect a white guy that dared go in the TV room back in the day. Different time, you guys. And I know that some of you guys, maybe you'll get some pushback on this. I was white and I ran black. From 1998 to 2000 into 2002 at Leavenworth, Terry Brown, TB, GD. As a matter of fact, if you guys know him, or Terry, if you see him, I still use $700, bro. That money, we almost got into it and we were real good friends. And Terry, after I got transferred, that money actually came back to me, man. So hit me up sometime. We'll see what we can do from a debt from 2002, right? Anyway, that's what happened. Not proud, but it's a prison story, you know? it's part of my life. I was involved in it, stepped up in it, and it is what it is. You know, things are different. Things are different in the feds too. You know, you can be whatever you want. Mike Miller. Convict Cuts, I think it was. I'm going to give Mike a plug. Mike's a really, really good dude. Yeah, he really is. Anyway, support him if you can. All right, guys. So hopefully, if this is on Sunday, and we posted a video, me and my wife last night. We did it. It's an hour and a half. It's long. I know a lot of you guys might not want to watch it, but I put Mart out there. Plus, she's a lot better to look at than me. Take care.